What is going on, YouTube? Happy Friday. Hopefully you guys had a good night last night. If you tailed the bets, you had a very good night. So we'll talk about the recap at the end. But yeah, very good day. We hit some nice plays there. Man, hockey, unfortunate. Thought US had that in overtime, but was not meant to be. So GG, 9 games on the NBA slate. I'm also going to talk about some college plays that I like. But make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Help us grow here as we get plunging into baseball season. First games for spring training were yesterday. Exciting times. Looking forward to the start of the season. That is going to be a good time. All right, let's jump right into this card. So first game on the card is going to be the Knicks and the Cavs. A lot of these teams are going to be on back-to-backs. So both of these teams were on back-to-backs. Knicks ended up going into overtime to beat the Hawks last night. Cavs ended up pulling away at the end from the Nets. Unfortunate situation for those folks that ended up getting the Cavs at minus 13.5. A late 3 backdoor covered for the Nets. So if you got them at 12.5, congrats. You got them at 13.5. That's painful. But we see Cavs minus 8.5. That's a little high in this game, but I think the over-under of 239.5 is just a hair high on a back-to-back night for both teams. So I would lean towards the under there. I do like the Cavs. I just don't know if I like them at minus 8.5 in this spot. Next game on the card, Grizzlies and the Magic. Again, both teams back-to-backs. Magic ended up getting the job done last night. Looked pretty good. We were sweating Franz Wagner over 5.5 rebounds. Had a decent little bonus bet on DraftKings that was just needed Mr. Franz to come through, and he ended up getting 7. So that was great. Grizzlies minus 3.5 in this spot. I like it. Give me the Grizz minus 3.5. I know the Magic are better on the road. Only thing for me with the Grizzlies, if you look, they just play so many players. They go 5-6 players deep. I mean, there's 11, 12, 13 guys playing every night for the Grizz. So eventually they will whittle that number down to, probably 9. But right now it's so many bench players. So I think that's kind of stopping them from pulling away. But I do like the Grizz minus 3.5 in this spot. It's kind of an interesting game. You got a team that plays very fast against a team that plays ridiculously slow. So, who's going to win that pace battle? We will see. I think the over 224.5 is pretty appropriate. It's kind of right in the middle. Typical Magic line's going to be somewhere 211, 213. Grizzlies are going to be, high 230s, low 240s. So in terms of an over-under here, I would lean towards the under with the Magic at home. Bucks and the Wizards, I don't think Giannis is going to play. He was probable coming into last night with a left calf strain. It just makes sense to me that he's probably going to sit. I think we're seeing that reflected in the minus 6.5. That said, I think the Bucks get the job done. So give me the Bucks minus 6.5, over under of 229.5, slight lean towards the over there. Next game, Heat and the Raptors. No Jakob Poeltl in that contest. We see a line of minus 3.5 for the Heat. A little low for a team that's 25-28 going up against a team that's 17-38. That said, Raptors just play a little bit better at home. So if I trusted the Heat, I would take the Heat minus 3.5. I think it's a good spot to take them. Over under of 221.5. Slight lean towards the over there. Next game, Pelicans and the Mavs. We see the Pelicans plus 5.5 going up against the Mavericks, trying to find an identity. I would say Pelicans plus 5.5 is a pretty good spot. I like the under 238.5 in that one as well. Next game, Pistons and the Spurs. No Wemby. Wemby out for the season with a deep vein thrombosis. So essentially he had a blood clot in his shoulder. He's got to be on blood thinners. Not going to play for the rest of the season. So that stinks for them. We see Pistons minus 4.5 because of this. Pistons were rolling coming into the All-Star break. Spurs looked pretty good last night. They were decent, but I like the Pistons minus 4.5 in this spot. There's just there's something lacking. Without Wemby on a back-to-back, I can't take them. Next game, Thunder and the Jazz. We see a 14.5 spread for the Thunder. I like this. I think they pull away. I think the Jazz keep this game pretty tight through at least, 3 quarters. I think fourth quarter, probably down 7 or 8, and then the Thunder start to pull away. So I don't mind taking the Thunder minus 14.5. It's a huge spread, but I do think they should win this game. Over under of 236.5. I don't want to touch that. Slight lean towards the over in this one. I do think there's scoring spots for both teams, but I think it's also just perfectly placed there in my opinion. Next game, T-Wolves and the Rockets. No Fred VanVleet. We can't fade Fred today. We got the T-Wolves plus 3.5 on the road against the Rockets. I don't necessarily love the way the T-Wolves have looked. Maybe it's because Julius Randle's out. I think Naz Reid's done a decent job, but I just don't like the scoring matchups for the T-Wolves tonight. That said, I don't really love it for the Rockets either. I think we're seeing that reflected in over-under of 216.5. Slight lean towards the over 216.5, slight lean Rockets, but not really a game I want to touch, to be honest with you. Jabari Smith Jr. is back, so prop-wise, I looked at, potentially taking Alperen Sengun over 9.5 rebounds, but I kind of want to see how Jabari Smith Jr. kind of factors in. Thompson's line's at 8.5. Just nothing I love in this game prop-wise. And then our final game on the card, Warriors and the Kings. We see the Kings plus 2.5 at home going against the Warriors. I just don't know if Jimmy Butler's came in and he's done pretty good, but I would lean Kings plus 2.5, although I do like the over 233.5 more. So that's where I'm at with those. Let's get into our plays and get you guys on your way. Like I said, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. We'll talk about the recap. Very good day yesterday. We went, we had Franz Wagner over 5.5 rebounds. He ended up with 7. He had 5 coming into the fourth quarter. Max Strus over 9.5 points. He did not hit. That is the only one we missed. He went 0 for 7, or 0 for, where did he go? 2 for 10. He was 0 for 7 after 3 quarters. He ended up 2 for 10 shooting. Just a bad night. He went 1 for 8 on threes, but he had good looks. I like the read. So can't make the ball drop. Jared Allen, double-double. He crushed this line. It wasn't even close. Jason Tatum, over 13.5 rebounds plus assists. He ended up with a triple-double, so he crushed this line. He hit this early in the third quarter. Zubac, over 11.5 rebounds. He had 10 at halftime, so that was sweat-free. And then Dame, over 11.5 rebounds plus assist. He had 9 coming into the fourth quarter. Ended up getting 5, so he finished at 14. So very good day for us. We went 5-1, up 3.74 units yesterday. It takes us up 4.43 units over the past 2 days. 7 wins, 2 losses. So college basketball, we had no plays. So it remains the same. 2 wins, 3 losses. Down 1.18 units, but good bounce back day today. I mean, kind of weird games today. Tomorrow's the big day in college, so we'll have a decent amount of college plays tomorrow, most likely. But let's talk about the NBA. First play on the card is going to be Jalen Brunson. We're going to fade him under 8.5 assists. He had, I think, 10 or 11 last night. This is just not a good matchup for him. What he does have is a great scoring matchup. So I think they're going to lock Cat down. Should open up Brunson to score. That said, I don't want to trust Brunson to score points. I think he takes shots. I just don't know if he scores. So I like just taking his under 8.5 assist at minus 115 on bet 365. He's only over this in 12 of his last 30 games. However, he is over this in 3 of his last 5. Cleveland allows the 14th fewest assists to point guards. Only 2 of the last 12 point guards have gone over their assist props against Cleveland. So I do like this spot. I think it's a little heavy. Will most likely be 7.5 on almost every book by tip-off. All right, next play. Josh Hart sat yesterday to play today. Over 9.5 rebounds. He had 13 versus Cleveland when they played in October. 10 of 14 similar players have gone over their rebound line versus Cleveland. If we look at shooting guards, 9 of the last 15 have hit their rebound prop against Cleveland. Not as high as Josh Hart's, but like I said, I think Cat's going to be busy. You'll have Mobley, you'll have Allen in there. I think Hart's going to be able to grab a decent amount of boards tonight. Next play is Damian Lillard. We're going back to Dame tonight, but this time we're going to take his points. He had a terrible matchup to score last night. He's got a beautiful matchup today to score, and I don't think Giannis plays. So this is me hedging a little bit. I still think he hits it even if Giannis plays, but if he doesn't play, he should just absolutely destroy this. I thought about laddering this up to 30 points. Just putting a half unit on that. So that's something I still might do. But when we look without Giannis, he's over in 6 of 7 without Giannis. Like I said, he's got a beautiful matchup here to score some points. And then we'll go to Scotty Barnes, over 8.5 rebounds. You can get this as 7.5 for minus 140 on DraftKings. I just went up one and made it a half a unit play. He's over this in 3 straight without Jakob Poeltl. He's played Miami 2 games this season. He had 10 rebounds in both. So another one you technically could just take him for a double-double if you want. Not to say he can't get 10 assists, but he probably won't. But I do like the spot for him. That said, we're just going to do a half a unit. RJ Barrett, over 3.5 assists. He had 5 and 10 assists versus Miami in 2 games this season. And when Jakob Poeltl sits, his numbers actually go up. So he's over this in 7 of his last 10 without Poeltl in the lineup. It's not a great spot for Emmanuel Quickly to get assist. So I do think Barrett's going to play a hand in this from the assist perspective. And then last play in the NBA is going to be our man, Walker Kessler. The man, the myth, the legend. This guy has just made us a lot of money this season, but over 10.5 rebounds. Only reason this line's low is because of blowout potential. He's had 11 and 15 rebounds in 2 games versus OKC this season. OKC 16th in rebounds to the center position. Thought about going John Collins. John Collins also has a pretty decent matchup of 6.5, but I figure he's probably going to be on Chet Holmgren. Holmgren likes to kind of move away out into the perimeter, so I'm just going to bank on Kessler to be underneath, just kind of grabbing some boards. A couple of leans I had. So I do like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander over 31.5 points. He has a great matchup. I didn't want to pull the trigger on it, but he does have a good matchup. He also has a good matchup to get assists, but I don't trust him to get assists. Another play I like is Jordan Poole for the Wizards, over 22.5 points. He's over in both games versus Milwaukee this season. I think he threw up like 50-something on them. So he's performed really well against them. So that's a potential lean that I have as well that I may place. And then another one I liked was DeMar DeRozan over 3.5 rebounds. It's minus 135. Didn't quite make the card, but he does have a good spot to get boards. Doesn't have a great spot to get points. I almost took his under in points, but there is some areas where I think he could excel. So it made me a little nervous to take the under 19.5 points, but that could be an avenue you want to explore as well. All right, college basketball. I've got 4 plays I like. I like Marquette minus 1.5 versus Villanova. I've got Marquette winning by 6, so we're going to put 1.2 on that one. Dartmouth minus 1 versus Penn. So I do like this spot for Dartmouth. I think they probably win by 3 or 4. Youngstown State minus 1.5 versus Green Bay, Wisconsin. Green Bay, Wisconsin is horrendous. They are a bad team. When you take them on the road, they get even worse somehow. So I do like the spot for Youngstown State, who is pretty decent at home. And then last play, a little local battle here in the Cincinnati area. We're going to take Wright State minus 3 versus NKU, so Northern Kentucky University. I think it's a somewhat tight game. We're paying a little bit of juice. It's actually 3.5. I'm knocking it down to 3. I'll take a little bit of juice for this just to maybe bring in some push potential, but I do like Wright State to get it done. All right, guys, those are my plays. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Join the Discord. It's absolutely free. Link is down below, and I'll catch you in the next video.